Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is Rooibos Wedding Chai from Alice's Teacup, which is really nice, and I'm having it with oat milk. It's very autumnal, especially since when I usually have it in the Alice's Teacup restaurant, I usually have it with the pumpkin scone. So I thought that was fitting to talk about my reading plans for September, which is obviously the first month of autumn, or fall, whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty excited about reading for this month, and I love this season. I hope it lasts a long time. It's the weather's gone down a little bit already, but not enough. And I hope we get a pretty mild autumn. We shall see. But we can have a good reading month and a good reading season, hopefully. But for my TBR, I try not to get too ambitious, although I always have more on my plate than I mean to. But I'm also sort of trying to plan ahead and be reasonable because I've been really tired lately. Not just because of my just not feeling good, but also because I have been called into my office a lot more to work, to commute and go in instead of working from home for the most part. And so now I have to adjust to that. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. For some reason, I thought, well, you get used to things, but I am not used to it yet. I managed to get through the day pretty well, but in the evening, I feel like I've been flattened, and so that does affect my reading, which I'll probably talk about more in my wrap-up, but hopefully not too much of a downer. So I didn't want to overwhelm myself with a TBR that is, up to the ceiling, but I also kind of like to put a lot of things to look forward to either way. And I do have a couple of days off planned in September, so hopefully we'll see. There are some really great read-alongs, readathons, read this, read that in September on BookTube, and I want to join so many of them, but I also kind of want to keep myself, like I said, not overwhelmed, because in October there is VIII-tober, which I do put a lot of love into, and then November is Nonfiction November, so we got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm planning something too for early next year. Hopefully I'll put it off. So I didn't want to join too many things, although I'm looking forward to seeing what other people are reading for all these different events. So I didn't put any Shakespeare in here, even though it's September, but I thought, doesn't mean I can't read Shakespeare, but whether I do or not, I'll watch some of the videos because I also like people talking about Shakespeare. So that probably won't happen. But at least I'll watch the videos, so yeah. Anyway, so let's actually talk about books I'm planning to read. One thing I do now every few months, if I can do so, is a bit of a cleanup, which means that I try to take a chunk off of my currently reading on Goodreads, while at the same time, I try to lessen the amount of books I have out of the library and return anything that I cannot renew. Yeah, you can see I'm a lot more tired than I'd like to be, but anyway, powering through with herbal tea. But I'm going through the same thing that I have gone through every 6 months and 3 months, whatever, which is ever since the libraries closed down after COVID started in the area. They waived fees for overdue books, and you could just keep the book out forever, basically. But they kept saying until this day. So we're waiving all fees until the end of September of 2020, and then it was December of 2020, and then it was June of 2020, and now it's September 30th, 2021. Did I say 20? Whatever. And I would like to just take my chances and say, well, you know what, they'll probably extend it again until December, and very likely they will. Very likely they'll extend this grace period because of the variants and all the other things that are happening. I would not be surprised, but I also don't want to just assume and then not address any of my library books and then So I thought I would at least work on making a dent in returning a lot of the books that I have checked out of the library and finishing a lot of them. And also finishing books, whether they're from the library or of my own home library, that I have started in the past months or so and just didn't actually finish. Like, for instance, I don't know if I'll actually finish this one, but because the history challenge last month, I wanted to read more history. And I read some, but I started SPQR. I didn't make a lot of headway, some way into it. But I thought, well, I could continue reading it in September. And there's a number of other books that I started that you've probably seen me mention that I just haven't finished. So I would like to focus a little bit on that. But because I am myself, I must also have other books that are new to me that I will begin. And so I'll show you some of these. One is kind of going along with a reading readathon, and that is in September, called I think it's called Tudor-tember, Hungry Bookworm and Lil's Vintage World, I believe. Hungry Bookworm, yeah, I believe so. So I'll try to link their videos down below, which is basically reading about the Tudors, which I guess can be nonfiction or fiction. And but again, I'm not overwhelmingly getting myself involved in it because I don't want to overwhelm myself. But you know, I did get yet another taste for history in August when I was reading that book, Foundation, by Peter Ackroyd, and it ended at Henry VII's reign. And I could always read more about the Tudors. I don't know why I don't get tired of them, because there's been so much written about them, you'd think I'd be tired of them. But I bought this book, I don't remember when, either last year or early this year. I think last year, but I'm not sure. I feel like I've had this for a little while. I don't know. But I definitely got it from Book Off. And for $1, which I love, and it's called 1536, The Year That Changed Henry VIII by Susanna Lipscomb. I saw her on one of Lucy Worsley's things recently, talking about the Tudors. So, now I'm trying to remember when I actually got this book, but it could have been a year ago, so it's time to read it. And I actually started today, and I made it into about 60 pages, and it is interesting. It really is about that year, in which Henry VIII was about my age, which in those days was considered the beginning of old age. Yay! Where are my benefits? And it was also the year that Anne Boleyn was executed, where he married Jane Seymour. He also got a major injury early in the year, which affected the rest of his life. I think the Pilgrimage of Grace started, and also his first wife died as well early in the year. So there's a lot that happened, and apparently it changed Henry VIII. He already was, I think, a pretty nasty piece of work, but became a more nastier piece of work, and it's interesting to me. So it's not that big of a commitment. So yeah, I'm excited about this book. And so then I have 3 books. I don't think I'll read all 3 of these, but they are all either September or autumnally related. And the first one has pretty big writing in it, like the font or whatever is big, and it's I don't want to read the end. 218 pages, so I could probably breeze through this one. And this is Quartet in Autumn by Barbara Pym. Her, the cat. This I did not get from Book Off. It was probably some kind of remainder. Look, got. Yeah. And it's okay. It's the first of Barbara Pym's later novels, and it's considered by many to be her masterpiece. So maybe I'll read her masterpiece, and if I do, I will let you know what I think of this masterpiece. But isn't it so autumnal? I mean, obviously the title is, but I think it refers to being in the autumn of one's life, which sounds sad, but autumn's a beautiful month. But anyway, and so then I have this book that I've not done a lot of hauls recently on this channel, and I'm not sure if I can because I've lost track of some of the books that I've picked up recently. So maybe I'll pull one together and be a little repetitive, we'll see. But yeah, I found this for $1 at Book Off at my last visit. I was a little bit in a bad mood when I got in there, even though I love Book Off. because they change some things around. And I hate when things are changed around in a shop that I like to go to because I really like to know where I'm going. And it threw me a little bit. It shouldn't have, but I'm a mess. I don't like change. And mainly there's a section of fiction that goes on for like two rows of shelves, 2 rows of aisles, whatever you call it. And it's all $1 novels and hardcover, softcover, whatever. And it's fantastic because you can get some really good buys there. And there was one section right next to historical novels, which I love, and then right next to it was classics. So all classics for $1. And I was so excited because I like that. You could, because they had a separate classic section for like $5.50, $7.50, $9.50, etc. and onward. And I like that section too, but I like the $1 classic section. So the last time I went in there, that's the first place I headed to. I was like, I'm here in the classic section, yay. I look in and I'm like, this book is $1? This is amazing. I'm taking all these books down. I'm like, wow, how did they get these beautiful things for $1? And then I just turned it around and saw the price tags. No. What they did was they took that classic section and they took the old classic section and merged them. And they moved other things to that other section. So now, even though the rest of the aisle is $1, this one section is not. And that did give me a bit of an inner meltdown, not an outward one, but I was not happy about that. However, I still found some good finds, and I think there will still be some good classics, even for $1 or more. I mean, good ones are worth more than that, but So I have Elizabeth Bowen, The Last September. So, it is Elizabeth Bowen's timeless portrait of a young woman's coming of age in a brutalized time and place where the ordinariness of life floats like music over the impending doom of history. Woohoo! In 1920, at their country home in County Cork, Sir Richard Naylor and his wife, Lady Myra, and their friends maintain a skeptical attitude, can't say it, toward the events going on around them, but behind the facade of tennis parties and army camp dances, all know that the end is approaching, the end of British rule in the south of Ireland, and with it, the demise of a way of life that has survived for centuries. So it's gonna be about that time period, so kind of historical fiction, kind of, and why did I forget that she was Irish, Elizabeth Bowen? I get people mixed up, that's the problem. So this was written, let's see, copyright 1929. Okay, so it's not really historical fiction because it was written in the 20s. Like I said, I cannot keep track of these authors and when they lived. So this is good. This is a good way of like pulling myself together and remembering, some of these authors that I definitely read some of her books before. I can't remember which ones though, because I know it's been over a decade. Trying to remember which ones they were. Anyway, I'll probably end up looking it up. I think it was like The House in Paris thing. I have it over there somewhere. But I thought, okay, it says The Last September. Maybe I'll read it in September. Wouldn't that be fun? Speaking of which, while we're on the roll of $1 book off books, it's great though, because I feel like I'm finally reading my books that I've been hauling from Book Off. I occasionally did, but I felt like I wasn't getting to a lot of them. And now I'm actually making a dent. Yay! Not enough of a dent, but I actually did a good job making this tea. I wasn't sure. With rooibos, I tend to not always get it right, but I did. So I found this, and I don't know if I'm going to have time to read this one, but it's got a great title for this month, September, by Rosamund Pilcher. I read her book, Winter Solstice, a long time ago, and loved it. And I don't know why I didn't read the rest of her books, but I've been seeing her a lot on BookTube lately. Not her personally. Sadly, she died a little while ago. But yeah, but I've been hearing her mention, I guess I should say, and so I wouldn't mind reading another one of her books. I know they're very cozy. They're very. I'm not saying they're all just cheerful, but there's something cozy about it, and so I could use that. This book, though, the actual book itself just is such a throwback for me for like my early 20s when I was reading novels. It's the design of it, So let's see when this was actually written and see if that corresponds. 1990. Okay, well, no, I was a little bit younger when this came out. So maybe, yeah, I'm off a little bit by almost a decade. But anyway, and then this is one of the library books I have out that I've been waiting to get a hold of. This is just up my alley, and for me, it seems autumnal because when I think of the certain animals just are autumnal to me. Foxes are. I don't know if they would agree with me, but I just their color just looks like autumn leaves, right? My cat Freddie, I guess, is an autumnal cat. Actually, both of my cats now. Janie is pretty autumnal too. My tuxedo cat. So this is Fox and I, An Uncommon Friendship by Catherine. Oh, Catherine Raven. What a great name, right? Catherine Raven. I mean, my goodness. Foxes, Catherines, and Ravens in one. Only needs tea and I'm good. Jan Martel, author of Life of Pi, wrote, if Thoreau had read The Little Prince, he would have written Fox and I. I love that. This is about a woman who lives in, I think, Montana, and she sort of befriends a fox. And I wonder if it's going to make me cry. But she apparently, because I read a few pages already, and apparently she reads The Little Prince to this fox. So we'll see how that works out. I've heard nothing but good things about this book, and this arrived at my library in August of 2021. So quite new to me and new to many people. And I think we're down to last but not least. I bought this book. Oof, my wrist is like, why did you do that? The Brontes, Wild Genius on the Moors, The Story of a Literary Family by Juliet Barker in, I believe, early 2020. Because I was reading a book about Anne Bronte, who is, I just decided, my favorite of the Brontes. And I liked the book, but I kept hearing about this particular book and thought, I really need to get a hold of it. So I did. I got it. I don't remember where I got it from, online somewhere. And I just didn't get to it in the past year, which happens to me all the time. I don't just pick up a book and immediately read it. Sometimes I do, but rarely. As you can see, when I'm showing you these books and I'm like, I can't remember when I bought this book. About a year ago, maybe. A few months ago, maybe, etc. But I thought I could read it my own, but maybe I'll do a buddy read, whatever. And then a little while back, Kate Howe had mentioned how she wanted to read this book, and then she, I think she was going to buddy read it with someone else, but then she put together a actual read-along for whoever wants to join. And I thought, well, that sounds like a good motivation and a good way to like ease into Victober, right? To read about 3 major Victorian novelists, right? But the good thing is, because this is a big book, I would not be able to read this in 1 month. I mean, I could, but I only read this and like one other book, but it is a pretty big book. Oh, look. Pictures. But it's being divided in, I guess, thirds. So, we're only reading a certain amount of chapters every month. I mean, unless one decides to read ahead, which one can do sometimes. But that's all that's going to be, I guess, discussed on a Zoom conversation. So I'm pretty excited about. Let me lift it up with both my hands. I'm pretty excited about this book. This is another one like Fox and I. It's another one that I've only heard very good things about. And that is, if you are at all interested in reading about the Brontes, it is a great, well-researched, good story. I mean, it's not the happiest life, but you know what? Whose is? On that note, so yeah, that's my TBR for as Kazan says, he's doing the pile of possibilities, many possibilities. I have other books that I have out from the library that I might also begin in September. We shall see, and I am hoping to do a little more sort of like Friday Reads type of updates throughout the month. I did a mid-month in August. I did manage to get to that, but I know I was really slowed down in August with my videos. So I'm gonna try to get to certain things. I know I've been tagged by a fellow booktuber, and so I will probably be doing a tag video soon, etc. We'll see. And if not, I will pull myself together for Victober as well, because that is something that I'm definitely looking forward to. But that's all for now. I hope you guys have been enjoying your reading weeks, months, whatever. And I really hope this is a good September. We shall see. This is Catherine at Taking Tea. Can't say the word tea. That's wonderful. Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and book-filled day. Goodbye.